I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not prepared enough. What if none of it matters? I don't have enough money. It was all this negative self-talk.
On today's episode, we have Scott Grates. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about prioritizing your day, what it takes to be successful every single day. If Scott went back and opened an agency, would he change anything about what he did? Constant communication with the team. And then we get into Scott's new book, Essential F Words for Teens. I'm pumped about this episode. Scott absolutely rocked it. With that being said, let's start the show. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. We are your hosts, Michael and Courtney Weaver, and we have a special guest today, Scott Grates. Scott, how are you?
I am good, and I am very grateful for the opportunity to share this space with you guys today.
And we are pumped today.
I feel like every time I get on, I'm like, I am so excited. And I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, Courtney, don't say I'm so excited when Scott Grates comes on. But Scott, we are friends. We are Facebook friends. We follow each other on social media. And what you're putting out into the world right now, I got to say, I'm so excited to talk about it today.
Yep.
I'm equally as excited.
So I got to open with, because you're a fellow NFL fan. How about them Chiefs, baby? I mean,
are you really going to start the conversation here?
I'm sorry. Hey, you know what?
I mean,
congrats.
This might be the shortest podcast ever. It's over.
I did hear Josh Allen.
There's only. I'll talk about anything except the Buffalo Bills.
All right.
It's off season. This is my happy time. I got all that to worry about come September.
I know. I would love to connect with you though. When the Chiefs play the Bills, I think it would be a heck of a time. We watched them last year. The Bills actually beat us at Arrowhead last year. It was a good time, though.
Yeah, we go there every year. This would be like the 6th straight year we're there. We do really well in the regular season when it doesn't matter.
All right.
Hey, listen, I was the biggest Chiefs fan in the world when they won the first one. I go back to the Christian Okoye days. Like I loved it. The Chiefs were probably Packers, Chiefs, second team, behind Buffalo. So I always was a Chiefs fan. I'm a huge Andy Reid fan. And it's so funny. I had to hate the Patriots, right? Because they were so damn dominant. Yep. And everyone hates a winner. And now I find myself hating the Chiefs, and I'm mad about it, frankly. I don't want to not like the Chiefs, but they're just damn good.
Wow.
And it's annoying.
I think Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals, man. Like I'm pumped because I feel like we're 3 teams that struggled for years, and now we're all good. And we're like, let's roll.
2 of those are still struggling to get it done, but anyway. Let's talk
all right. So
let's talk about winners. So this is the Insurance Buzz. So we're gonna go from winning in football to winning in insurance. So you've been in insurance for a long time. And I think a great place to start is you've weathered a lot of different storms and a lot of different seasons. And if you had to start over right now with our current climate in insurance, what it looks like, is there something that you would do differently now versus when you started years ago?
It's a great question. It's one that obviously we get a lot, and I don't have a great answer to, because I truly believe the mistakes, the hiccups, the failures are necessary, right? So I wouldn't do anything different, even the dumb stuff that I did. And I came from the outside world. I didn't know anything about insurance when I got in. And, it's you don't know what you don't know. But here's the whole secret. I'll give it to you right up front. The secret to success with anything, and certainly my success in insurance. I opened December 1st, 2009. And I had just a handful of goals for December 1st, 2009. That very first day that I opened, I drove in. I said, if I can get these 3 things done by the time I leave there today, then I will have won my day and I will earn the right to come back December 2nd, 2009. And that process, as simple as it sounds, it is really what I've done every single day for 14 years now, which is just clearly defining what today needs to look like. And then rinse and repeat. And so I give that answer, and it's not sexy and it's not fun, right? Just keep winning your day, and then it becomes winning weeks and months and years, right? And so then people will pull me aside after a seminar and be like, all right, what are you really doing? And I'm like, no, that's it. That's, and I do the same thing with my team is we get bogged down with the big, juicy long-term goals, right? I mean, every year we have huge numbers that we need to put up. And if you focus on that big number, it becomes scary. It's daunting. And so all we do, especially in this environment, which you're alluding to, is control what we can control, right? So whatever's happening outside of these four walls, let it happen. It's going to happen. All right. But what can we do today, specifically inside these four walls, to move us closer to where we want to be?
So I love that you say that, because I think sometimes we want to overcomplicate it. We want to make it harder than what it is. There's got to be, it can't be this simple. But you brought up the handful of failures that you made. And I always like talking about that, because that's life's lessons of you just keep failing over and over again. Is there one that sticks out that you were like, that sucked, but I'm so glad that I went through that?
I really stink at firing people. So if I were to name one failure, especially early, is I held on to dead weight. Hopefully they're not listening. Longer than I should have. It cost me money. It cost me emotional, reserve, probably more importantly. And frankly, it made me weak as a leader, because the solid team members were noticing, right? They weren't saying it, but they were noticing that I was allowing certain behavior, and it wasn't fair to them. So probably the biggest failure I made was not having that leadership courage to pull the plug when it's just not working. And then there's some marketing stuff that I definitely overspent early. We just kind of took this wide approach to just do it all and see what works, and probably could have tightened that up a little bit, but really the leadership courage, when it came to poor team members.
You must, I don't know if you just read my Facebook post, but very similar. I said one of the worst things I ever did. It was one of the biggest learning lessons, is I lost possibly my best employee teammate I ever had, because I refused at the time to fire, because we were down to only a single producer. She came to me, she was the office manager, and she's like, he needs to go. He's not pulling his weight. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. And I'm like, well, what do we do if I fire? Like, we're not going to have a producer. So instead, she gives her 2 weeks, 2 weeks later. And then after she quits, I fire him like a week later. And it's like, this could have all been avoided if you would have just went with your gut and made the tough decision and just pulled the trigger. So thanks for saying that, Scott. That one is
yeah. Listen, you gotta choose your hard, right? I mean, everything is going to be hard, whether you want to choose when you take it. I mean, whether you do it now or whether it down the road, but it's not going to not be hard when you ignore it.
That's right. Well, and like what you said though too, the culture that, I mean, your leadership courage and what that says about you as a leader at the time, and obviously they're tough decisions, like you said, so you pick your hard.
And I think that's part of like business ownership. That's kind of like the rite of passage, is that you just keep getting hit in the face, and it's like, okay, all right. And I think I'm glad that you brought that up, like the failures, because at least for me, and I know if you're listening, I have avoided making some really big decisions that made me be a better person, because I was afraid I was going to fail. And that's actually how the system is designed, is that's how you become that person, is just like failing over and over and over again. So that leads me into mindset, because I love following you. You look like you have so much fun. I know you do, because I know you as a person. But on the internet, I'm like, dude, I want to be partying and waiting on a concert that got, taken out by the New York fire. Like, I don't want to be there, because it looks like Mad Max Fury Road right now. But yeah. I want to know what you do day to day, because this industry can be hard to really keep that positive mindset, to keep looking for fun. It looks like you are seeking joy in everything that you do. So I want to know if you have like some best practices, daily disciplines, what that looks like for Scott.
Yeah. Wow. There's a ton. And it is like a full-time job to try to be productive and happy, which sounds crazy, right? It doesn't come naturally. I have a healthy, or at least a manageable amount of anxiety. I'm nervous by nature, right? Everything scares the hell out of me, if I'm being honest. And then I'm just able to harness that and really. I use the phrase house money a lot. I know you guys like the investing space. House money is a casino term, right? When you're winning at the casino and you take whatever you brought with you back and you put it in your pocket and you're like, hey, now I'm just playing with their money. It's house money. I can't lose. And once I adapted that approach to mindset and to life, that I'm playing with house money, right? What do I truly have to lose if my parents love me, my wife loves me, my kids love me, and I'm doing the right thing for the right person in my community consistently, then who the hell cares, right? What happens if I fail, if someone doesn't see things my way? It really doesn't matter, because I was able to just identify the people that matter most. And as long as I'm doing the right thing for them and with them, and the with them piece is huge. We're team Grates, right? We do everything together. Just like I run my team at the agency, that's how I run my family, right? We have team meetings. We have one-on-ones. We plan together. We review together. My daughter just had a terrible, Buffalo Bills style loss in softball recently. I mean, they were up by 4 runs in the bottom half of the last inning, and they had 2 outs. The batter had 2 strikes. They had 1 strike to win by 4 runs, and they got beat. It was that kind of loss, and it created a coaching opportunity. I told my wife, I said, we had separate cars there. I said, let me drive her home, right? And so, we reflect on those failures, and, winning is easy. You find out what you're made of in defeat. Times like that, now you're going to find out, what your character is, what your DNA is, and how you bounce back from stuff like that. So yeah, we run it like a team.
Heck yeah. Team Grates. So, all right. So talking about what's going on, I love that with the family. I want to go into the business aspect of things. Because right now, obviously, New York always has all kinds of weird regulations when it comes to insurance. What are you doing right now? Because I know you're on like this weird binding circumstance right now. So more so, because this is happening all over the country, New York, California, Florida. So I would love to know what you do as an owner to help keep the culture and be that leader for your team, to where you don't get down in the pity party as well. And so I'm sure sometimes you probably do get down in the pity party, the BMW moments, but how do you as a leader step up and make sure that you don't dwell on the can'ts, that you're more focused on the cans?
Yeah. And that's another full-time job, right? I recently spoke to a group of agents in California and talk about the pity party. I went out there feeling like we had things pretty rough in New York. And then I met with them and I'm like, wow, I guess I don't have it, it's so bad. And I think it's a Gandhi quote. I'll mess it up, but he says, I felt bad about not having shoes until I met the man with no feet, and everything's perspective. Communication, Michael, is the simple answer to your question. It's just that consistent dialogue to keep, to judge the temperature, right, of the office and everyone individually. We have 5, I call myself a 5-minute manager. There's the book, The 1-Minute Manager. I'm not that good. So I take 5, but every day I just have a 5-minute check-in with each team member, and we just talk about the most critical things and really what's on their mind. And then we do a weekly 15-minute, and there's literally a clock on my desk. So it goes 15 minutes and counts down. No one wants to meet longer than 15 minutes. I don't want them to not look forward to it. So let's just get right to it, right? What's most pressing, what's most important. And again, a lot of our frustrations, we just can't do anything about. And so what can I control? I can control communication. We run off the 12-week planning year, right, off of Brian Moran's book, The 12-Week Year. And so we just did it, actually. We did a team outing. We did a golf outing this past weekend where we just get out and have fun together. And I know you're huge on that, right? That was your jam always. work hard, play hard. And the play hard piece, even if we're not where we need to be with numbers and things aren't going exactly how we want them to, so what? Like, they're still there busting their butts every single day. And so, we make it a point to get out and enjoy each other. We're a family, we have to be. It's a small office. There's only, well, now we're growing with this. We got a second agency opening, but, there's 10 of us total. So, but communication, just daily dialogue, and then just, what can we control?
Yeah.
All right. So you just said, and it's going to lead me to my next one, because I'm looking at you. You just wrote your second book. You're getting ready to open up your second agency. You are a full-time dad. Like, you can tell that your family is your priority, your wife, everything that's going on there. How are you managing this? Because I'm over here going, I am drowning. Like, how is he thriving?
Well, thriving might be generous, but thank you.
Like, I'm like looking at you like, give me the secrets. Give me the time management. Is there a system?
Yeah, so yes, there's definitely a system. So the simple answer, if I'm going to give you one word, is delegation. I surround myself with great people. And I'm good at like a handful of things, and that's all I do. And everything that isn't for me, I either say no or I delegate it. And so, I leverage an executive assistant. I leverage obviously the team. My wife is fantastic, a huge supporter. Thank God. None of this works without her. She should have came first. But really, it's just that daily exercise. So I know Michael's a morning guy. I'm a morning guy. I'm 5 a.m. It's the only hour of my day that I get complete silence. So from 5 to 6 is really me time. Meditation, education, creative juices flow early for me. So I'll do my writing in that hour. But what I do more than anything else that's really helped me with time is every morning I just rough draft. And so I call it just regurgitation. I regurgitate every thought in my head, everything that I want to do. Right. It might be crazy, but whatever comes to mind, it goes on paper. All right. And then what I do from there is I say, okay, now let's just narrow the focus and look at today. What are the top 3 priorities? Right? If I can get these 3 things done today, I'll consider it a winning day. And then I rank them 1, 2, and 3. Now, where the secret sauce comes in is tomorrow when I get up, everything that's not crossed off today's list moves over to tomorrow. And it's the same process. And then the same the day after that. On day number 4, anything that's been written 3 times, I take off the list. Because if you've gone 3 full days and you had it on the paper as something you want to get done, but you didn't do it, it's not that important to you. And what we do is we trick ourselves by having these long to-do lists, when in reality, probably 2/3 of it, you don't really want to do, or it's not the best use of your time. And so if you keep moving it from day to day to day, just take it off. I'm not saying take it off forever, but bump it down the road, right? Or outsource it or delegate it. But, really it's just using that simple pen and paper approach to getting everything out of my head onto paper, prioritizing it, and then having the ability to say no. But almost everything gets delegated. So I have a lot of people around me that make it seem like I have my stuff together, but I really don't. The only thing I have going for me is them.
I love that, because I am the queen of like, I overestimate what I think I can get done too. If somebody's like, yeah, can you? I'm like, yes, absolutely. My to-do list has 45 things. And Michael's like, hey, what are the big 3? I'm like, they're all important, baby. They're all important. Like, they all got to get done. So I love that you give yourself permission to cross it off.
So Scott, I would love to know right now. So with you, where you're at in your agency, so 14 years, getting ready to start a new one. What are some of your top priorities you're seeing on a consistent basis right now at the current role you're in?
Yeah. So number 1, I don't even know if number 2 is close, but number 1 is recruiting. right? It's a leverage game. We can't do it all ourselves, right? Once this new office opens, we're going to have over 10,000 policies, right? That one person can't do that. And so my number one priority is recruiting, hiring, training, just putting the right people in the right place. I'm huge on empowering. Right. I mean, I let them know you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. That's OK. As long as it's legal, ethical, and compliant, we can fix it. Right. And so I encourage them to make a decision, to take action, to do it themselves. Everyone I hire has the same title. They're CEO, and they're CEO of that desk. And I want they all write their own business plans, so that I'm not their boss. Right? I am their business coach. I'm their cheerleader. I'm their shrink. I'm whatever they need on that given day. But now I'm not telling them what to do. Right? We're sharing the goals and the expectations that the company gives us. So it's not even, those aren't even my numbers. This is what the company says we have to do. Right now, we got to figure it out. And then they figure out what piece of it they can contribute. They write their own business plan. We have the daily check-ins and the weekly, pipeline reviews. And now I'm just their coach. Hey, how can I help you get to where you said you wanted to be? And it's a much different approach than, hey, you've got to do this. These are your numbers. I've in 14 years, I've never given my team a goal. They set their own goals. They write their own business plan, and then I coach them on how they can get there.
I think it's important to talk about the struggles that your team brings up, because I think as a professional in the insurance space and as a leader, to hear that you're not alone in going through the things that you're going through. What are the things that you're hearing from your team? You say you're the shrink or the coach. What are the common themes that you hear over and over again?
Well, today, like many days, it's computer systems. We haven't been able to quote anything all day today, which makes it really hard to write business when you can't quote it. So computer systems, is one, and then just we're not that competitive right now. We're competitors are eating our lunch many times when we're running quotes, but again, those are the things we can't control. But yeah, the common themes. System issues and, competitiveness.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that, because that's, when you hear, okay, somebody else is going through this, I am not alone. There's comfort in that.
Yeah. The peer-to-peer learning is huge. And you guys know this, right? When we bring team members together in a positive way, right? Not in a, gripe session, but when they can get off that proverbial island, those four walls can become suffocating. And when they're hearing best practices, from others, and when they're seeing that what they think is impossible is just the norm for so many people. And this happened to me when I was out in California on that trip, right? And so, I won't name names, obviously, but the annual bonus, right? We call it the scorecard bonus with our company. Like, to me, it was like, hey, if we can get that thing to six figures, if we can get a six-figure scorecard bonus, that's a banner year, ring the bell, right? And then I'm out in California, and I'm sitting next to an agent at lunch who had 1.3 million last year. And I mean, he legit 13x'd what I thought was a fantastic year. And so when your stretch goals are just the norm for someone else, put yourself in the company of those people. And that's really, what I work hard with my team. I connect them with other high producing team members where, 100 policies a month isn't a stretch goal. It's just what they do, and so it's the who, not the how, another, book reference there. But, really for me, that's a big piece of it is connecting them with the right people.
That is solid advice. Chalk that one up. Go do it. All right. I want to go into your new book, Essential F Words for Teens. I'd love to know more about it. What inspired you? I see that obviously I read up on it a little bit, but you're promoting it everywhere and you're helping a ton of people. You're getting tons of positive feedback. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so this is the insurance buzz. We talk a lot about insurance. You're looking at three people, those are listening to three people that have a lot of life insurance, right? And so, I had this old man moment where my oldest of three children is graduating from high school this year. And it kind of hit me, age doesn't bother me. It didn't bother me to turn 40, 45, but I was like, dang, now when I see my kids reaching certain ages, I'm like, wow, that's impossible because I just graduated high school. So with Ty graduating, I bring up the life insurance because I said, if I kick it, they're going to be fine financially, right? Thank you, life insurance. But there's a lot of stuff in the old man's noggin that, I want them to know. And so it really just started as I call it a love letter to my son. I just started writing hey, what are the most important things for you to know? What are some life hacks? What are some of these failures and lessons that I had to deal with? And I'm not saying I don't want him to experience those things because I do, right? That's how he's going to grow from failing. But there's certain things he doesn't have to do that I did, and just the mindset piece and just, the confidence. It was crazy to me. I don't have it in front of me. I wish I did. But my sister-in-law is a high school teacher, and she has a group of juniors, right, in a history class. And so I started, jotting all this down, and I'm thinking, how well do I even know the audience, right? And where are 16, 17? Are they listening to podcasts? Are they watching certain, self-development, self-help things on YouTube? I don't know. Or is this all Greek? Because it was all Greek to me when I was that age. So I had her give the kids a survey, and it just asked 5 or 6 questions. And one of the questions was something along the lines of, what do you struggle with the most? And out of 100 kids, ballpark, that took this, 88 of them, had some version of, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not prepared enough. What if none of it matters? I don't have enough money. It was all this negative self-talk, 16-year-olds, right in my town. And I'm like, dang, and then the three of us, we coach professionals. And what do they deal with?
Same thing.
I'm not confident enough. I'm not prepared enough. I'm not smart enough. Who am I to tell them what to... All the same stuff. And so, I started just jotting these thoughts and ideas down in that 5 a.m. hour for my son. And lo and behold, I ended up with about 300 pages of all these, I'm like, I got a book here, right? So I actually didn't set out to write a book, but then I started thinking, how cool, right? As just a legacy piece, something to give to him. And hopefully at some point, grandkids, great grandkids, who I may not even meet, will have these words from me. So it started as a love letter. It kind of turned into a passion project. It turned into a book. And then I just, how we do things, right? Us type A entrepreneurs. And I'm like, let's go big with this thing, right? And so then I started reaching out to small business owners and asking them to buy blocks of 100 to donate to local high school kids that are graduating. And it just kind of exploded. It hit #1 in the career development category on Amazon for new releases. And then it stayed there for 9 days. And then, we ended up with over 3,000 copies being purchased for all the high schools in my area. So it's kind of turned into this goodwill project, but really it just started out as stuff I wanted my kid to know.
So there's 9, is that right? There's 9 F's that you go through. So of all the F's, what was your favorite one to write about?
So the very first one's failure, right? And so we already talked about that, but I talk about failure as feedback, right? That's how you learn. That's how you grow. And the book opens with, me in 5th grade when I had 100 average in math going into the last exam of the year, and I got one wrong, and I was devastated. And what I realized now is that I was chasing perfection, and perfection is a myth. But so many kids, right? We're taught from kindergarten on that F is bad, failure is bad. And then I get into the real world. I'm like, no, you show me the most successful people, and I'll show you the biggest failures ever, right? They're all failing at a big level, but they're failing forward. So that was, definitely my favorite. Finances got a little nerdy, little longer than I wanted it to, but it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And I think we have a major issue with with the debt snowball, as a country and personally, people. And so, really what I wanted my kid to know is that, if you want to live life on house money, don't owe anyone anything, right? Unless, we don't get into like leverage debt and smart debt, but just the basics, don't charge crap, you know what I mean? Like just stay out of credit card debt. And it's so easy for them because everything's right in front of them on their phones. And with one tap of a button, you're spending hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Well, what does that mean, long term with that debt? So yeah. And then future you is a huge one because everything that we do today is casting a vote for some version of future you. And so the choices I make today, I'm constantly asking myself, would future me be proud of this or is future me going to be pissed? Right. Yeah. And it changes my behaviors, right? And the things that I do and the things that I don't do. And Courtney, when we talk about time management, I'm asking myself that all the time. Like, is this going to benefit future me or is future me going to be pissed because I should be doing this other thing that's more important? I should say no to this. So those are a few of the F words.
I love that. It's kind of a silly version of this, but I love the future version, like thinking of a decision. Would this serve future Courtney? Something as simple, this is going to sound so stupid, but I'm going to say it anyways. So changing the toilet paper roll, like when you see that it's nearing the end and you're like, oh, I'll let it go a little bit longer. And then you're like,
not stupid at all.
Oh man.
2 a.m. in the morning, you don't have toilet paper.
But it's all.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
So it's all of those like little decisions that start to add up and going, am I serving a future version of myself? Is this decision for or against? And that's such a tiny example, but
that's a great example, and that's really full circle. We kind of started there where there are no big things, right? Everything is just compounding little things that we do or don't do every single day. And so in the book, I say hang the towel. Right? Like that's the difference between people who get things done and people who don't. Like with my team, I'm like, if you're walking into the parking lot and there's a wrapper, if you're walking in the office through the parking lot and there's a wrapper, I don't care if it's yours or not, bend down and pick it up. Right? So all these little things, really, it's so cliche, but they do. They make the biggest difference. And so, Dabo Sweeney, head coach of Clemson football, he was just at our Chairman's Circle conference and one of the greatest hour talks I've ever heard in my life. But he talks about how you do anything is how you do everything. And he talks about when they would go to an opposing stadium, they left that locker room cleaner than when they found it. He goes, my proudest thing, he goes, when we went to Notre Dame, he goes, we got beat. It was awful. He goes, but the proudest moment for me is I got a letter from their AD just saying how fantastic. No one ever left that locker room as clean as we left it. They do movies on a team building night. He goes, and the team captains, after everyone leaves, goes in with leaf blowers and blows out underneath the seats and cleans the movie theater for them. And that stuff reflects on game day, right? It's all these disciplines and compounding little things that make the big difference.
Yep. Daily.
So yeah, toilet paper, that's not stupid. 2 a.m. Don't stress about it at 2 a.m. But
no, make the decision before.
Make the decision
before you're in the emergency. Make sure that is this for or against? Scott, I'm going to make sure too in the show notes that we put the link to the F words and the tribe of teams, because I love what you're doing, and the sponsorship is a great idea. I think I even saw that you can inscribe, like you can put a little note to the teens. Is that right?
Yeah. So on the second page, it says this book was generously donated by, and so we had stickers for all the businesses that stepped up and said, I want to buy 100. We had stickers made. But even if you just, it's a great graduation gift, and it'll all apply for next year too. So if you're already beyond graduation this year, you could put your name right in there.
Yeah. It applied to me. I'm not even a teenager. I think in my mind I'm a teenager, but just like you were saying, we're all just grown-up children. Like we're all going through the same struggles and hearing, this is how you overcame them. And I just loved that it was this love letter to Ty. I thought it was so sweet. So
Yeah, I painted myself into a corner with the name. The feedback we've overwhelmingly received is it's not just for teens.
Yeah.
Right. The adults have probably gotten more out of it than the kids. The kids aren't there yet, and with a lot of these things, and it was really just meant to be an introduction, and then hopefully it's on a shelf and they dust it off, 4 or 5 years from now, and they can, and they're all short chapters. Yeah. So the subtitle is the 117 things you need to know before graduation. So there's 4-page chapters in 9 different sections, and then it all ends with a crossroad. And I didn't want it to be preachy, right? So there's the story, there's the lesson, something they can relate to, but then ultimately you're going to arrive at this crossroad and you're going to have to make a decision. Right. And I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to make you aware that you're going to have to make this decision. And here's some thoughts if you go this way, and here's some thoughts if you go that way. So each chapter ends with a crossroad, and then it has 3 bullet points, the 3 things from this chapter that I want you to know before high school, and it all added up to 117 takeaways. I called it for teens, but really the adults have, and it's actually for insurance agents, couple things. One, it's a great way to get in front of kids. Mm-hmm. We had an agent contact me in Alabama who bought a copy for every senior, got in front of the seniors at an assembly, passed them all out, let her talk about her take on the real world, and it's a great PR thing, and it puts you in front of the next generation of customers, possibly team members, their parents, who could be customers as well. So that piece has been really cool. So yeah, it's all just, it's turned into this whole other business, I guess, that I didn't intend, but it's fun. It is a lot of fun.
And it's so mission driven. Like, I love that. It's a whole movement. And it's, we're talking about legacy, especially as an insurance professional. We're all concerned with legacy. Like, this is the most important thing, is the generation that comes up behind us. So I'm so incredibly grateful that you created this and that you are sharing this out in the world, because the world needs more of this for sure.
And Scott, if somebody wanted to follow you, support you, reach out, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the part I stink at. I mean, I'm like all over the place. I would start with social, right? Courtney mentioned I'm very active on Facebook. We have a website called Tribe of Teens, and again, I painted myself into a corner because it's not just teens, but a lot of people don't, read books. A lot of people don't read books. Yep. So we're doing a weekly podcast where we take, we are going to do a weekly podcast. It hasn't started yet, but a weekly newsletter where we take just a little piece of one of the lessons from the book and just, we send it out via a newsletter each week, so they get little doses of it along the way, bite-sized pieces. So that'd probably be the best way if they went to the Tribe of Teens website and got on the mailing list, and then there's a way to contact me through that as well.
Okay. Well, Scott, thank you so much. This has been fantastic, and for all of those that are listening, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you. If you enjoyed Scott as much as we did, give us a 5-star review on the Buzz. Scott, thanks again, my man.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, like 3 years ago, we did a Zoom recording. We couldn't fit it all into one, so we did like 3 sessions, and you're like, we should do a podcast. This is like a podcast. And here you are.
Here we
all
are.
Growing up in your life with a kick-ass podcast. So
We're doing.
you put it out to the universe, and it happened.
Oh, isn't that right? You freaking put it out. That's why you got to be careful. Like you said earlier, what you put out, you're going to get back.
Yeah.
So
Watch that 2 a.m. toilet paper. That's for sure. That's a lesson. That's a lesson on today. Scott, thank you.
2 a.m. toilet paper and the Buffalo Bills. Let's just end there. They're very similar.